What's up, everyone? I'm officially done with step one and just wanted to kind of reflect on it. So I've made a post step one vlog today, and I kind of just vlogged throughout the day and shared some insights and things I picked up on this journey. And so here it is, vlogging post USMLE. Woo! I'm literally like catching up on a lot of basic things. But one thing that I did want to do is kind of vlog today, obviously talk about what I learned through studying, because there was a lot I learned, not just about medicine, but also outside of medicine. And also kind of show you guys the other stuff that I'm going to be working on. Like I'm starting my MBA in a couple months, so I'm going to do a bunch of MBA prep today. I'm watching The Office while I'm working. Watching TV while working is finally a thing again, which is nice. So I'm going to kind of just walk you through today. And while we do it, I'm also going to go over 5 main things that I learned and hopefully kind of just discuss what this studying process was like for me, and then what other videos you guys might want to see about studying if you want to see any videos. If not, then we'll just vlog and have a good day. So I've been sitting here, and I don't know how you guys go about approaching, like getting back to responsibilities, or like, after an exam where you're trying to catch up with things. One of the ways I do it is actually I go through my email and make sure I go to the point where, I have my last unread email and kind of just go through all of them. Because I definitely check my email on a regular basis and I respond to things that are time sensitive, but I definitely just kind of skim through things that I know I won't need to take care of until a later date. And so when I eventually have time, and I do this once a month, I go through all of my emails for the last month and make sure I've at least like read them. And by read, I meant just like click and make sure that it's nothing crazy. And by doing that, you actually can create a really great to-do list, because emails will tell you what you need to do and what you don't need to do, because more often than not, a responsibility will be delegated to you over email, or an email will remind you of a responsibility. And so that's kind of what I've been doing for the last hour, and I still have a lot more emails to go, but I've been making a to-do list just to kind of keep track of, okay, here are the things I need to do, here's the things that have been done, and here are the things that are potentially overdue. And that's kind of the way I'm approaching kind of getting life back on track. And I guess now would be a good time to share one thing that I learned from studying for step one. I learned priorities. And by that, I don't mean priorities about studying. I really mean like the priorities, which matter the most to me. When I was studying, I think I had a lot personally going on, and even just like personal health stuff. You start realizing what really matters and what doesn't matter. Like studying for this test is great and it's huge, blah, 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 whatever, but it should never come at the expense of your own health. And that's when you really have to make sure that you're prioritizing your own health the highest above all else. A couple points on this exam is not going to be worth your health. And especially like not even an exam, almost anything is not worth your own health. And that's why I went to the gym every day. I definitely started meditating, and then for like last 4 weeks of my studying, I meditated every day for the 10 minutes in the morning. And I also did a lot of muscle exercises in the morning. And by that, I was really able to kind of make sure I still prioritize my own health, because those were things I needed to do personally, because if I didn't do them, they were just, had just seen based on previous evidence, I just don't function well. And so that was one of the biggest things I learned when I was studying for this test, which was I really needed to make sure I had my priorities straight. Like, this exam's big, but it won't come at the expense of my health, and I'm not going to let it. So I'm out here just getting ready to run again, but I wanted to share another tip that I kind of learned during this whole studying process, which was leave yourself room for no regrets. And that's always been my philosophy for any test. Come up with a plan, come up with everything you want to do, and accomplish that so you can go into the test knowing that you have absolutely no regrets. The reason I like this philosophy a lot is because I feel like if you do what you want to do, then the results should not affect how you feel. And what do I mean by that? Like, for example, I had a goal, which was like finish UWorld, go through like first aid, go through like Anki, do my AMBOSS questions. Ended up doing over 6,000 practice questions. Ended up doing, I'd say, over 100,000 flashcards cumulatively while I was studying. Ended up doing I did all of the NBMEs, which is like all the practice tests. So walking into that test, I knew that there was not much more I could have done. And by having that attitude, I really opened myself up from the pressure and just said like, hey, prereq, like how much worse could it have gone? Because you did literally everything possible that you could have ever done, and therefore you should be proud of that effort. Go in there, whatever the result is, you shouldn't give a crap because you did everything that you possibly could do, and because of that, you should be proud of your efforts. And that's always been my philosophy for tests, and that's actually made me feel better a lot, because sometimes like I think a test didn't go that well, and it's fine because I'm like, what more could I have done? I did everything in my power. I dedicated my like heart, sweat, tears to this journey, and if this is how it results, then this is how it results. I really don't have any more control over it. And when I walked into step 1, that's exactly how I felt. I felt really good because I knew that I did everything I could have done, and by leaving yourself very little room for error, you give yourself a lot more freedom to know that you worked as hard as you did. So that's just one of my other tips that I learned while I was studying. But I'm about to go run and get 3 miles in because I'm finally back on the exercise grind in terms of aerobics, and we'll go from there. Let's do it. Back from the run, and just in time to share number 3, the tip that I learned, which was USMLE, keep it very close, but keep your family closer, or keep whoever it is, your loved ones, whoever it is that's supporting you through this journey, keep them closer. There will be many times when you doubt yourself. There will be many times when you think you can't do it. There will be countless times when you're like, this is hopeless. And throughout this studying journey, I can't tell you how many times I saw potential for just complete lapse of, mental strength, complete lapse of just being like, oh my God, there's so much to know and I'm going to fail. Like that, the potential for that. I'm not saying it happened to me, but I'm saying that I saw the potential of that at multiple points through this journey, where even like, 2-3 weeks before the exam, I can see you feeling like you have no idea what's going on. You have nothing that you know. And it's during those times when you need to have a support network to kind of vent to tell them how you're feeling, to kind of make sure you're understanding like, oh my God, this is horrible. And that there's someone around you to let you know like, no, it's fine. It's okay. And you guys can use this channel as a way to do that, because I want you to know it's not alone. Like everyone feels this way. Everyone feels like the day before the exam, they don't know anything and they've spent the last few weeks studying for no reason. And that is a shared feeling. But the problem is when you keep that in isolation, when you keep that into yourself, it creates a recipe for a positive feedback loop that can be very, very, very detrimental to your overall health. Because at those points, at those low points, you need to have people who can throw you back into the ring and tell them, dude, you're fine. Just keep going. You need to have people who can pull you out of that loop when you get into that crazy loop, and who tell you like, calm down, it's just a test. So as I said, keep USMLE close, but keep your family and loved ones closer, because that's who you need when you're going to have doubt in yourself. You need people who believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. All right. So that's number 3. I'm going to go shower now and potentially hanging out with friends tonight because it's my first day after the test, and got to celebrate. I'm done with showering. And so I figured I'm just going to gloop, is that a thing? The last 2 tips together. And I think these are actually probably the most important. The next tip actually goes off of the last thing I said. And that is to be kind to yourself. And by that I mean there's not a single person, and I'm just maybe overgeneralizing here because I felt this way, and at least a lot of my friends who were studying felt this way. There's not a single person who does not think this test is hard. There's not a single person who goes into this test knowing they're going to ace it and then aces it. I don't think that person exists. This is a very, very, very hard test. Know that you are not alone in feeling stupid, incompetent, feeling like you don't know anything, feeling like there's way too much that you can't even absorb. You are not alone in that. So be kind to yourself. Like, understand that what you are feeling are not feelings of exclusion. Those are feelings that every medical student who takes this exam will have. And those are feelings that anyone who has taken this exam in the history of the exam will have. Because it's not intended to be an easy exam. It covers literally all of medicine, and anything is fair game. So know that you are not alone, and be kind to yourself when you get a bad grade. Be kind to yourself when you get a score that you've never gotten before in a low sense, because those things will happen. And when they do, you can't beat yourself up. You can't keep demoralizing yourself, dejecting yourself. You just kind of have to be like, wow, look at all these things I got wrong. Let me learn all these things, because there are opportunities to learn, and kind of go from there. Because if you are not kind to yourself, as I said, it's a recipe for disaster, because this test will eat you alive. it will eat you alive if you are not kind to yourself and you don't actually tell yourself it is okay to fail, because this test is really hard. And the moment you don't support yourself, this test will 100% eat you alive, because I can tell you that from personal experience, but I can also tell you that from everyone who's studied. Number 5, last but not least, the biggest thing is enjoy the journey. Don't focus on the destination. Studying for a test like this, it's so easy to get caught up in the numbers. It's so easy to get caught up in trying to take shortcuts. It's so easy to get caught up in A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Here's what I need to do, and I want to get the best score possible. From my personal philosophy, that's never worked. Focusing on the destination is like an ends to a mean, and what that ends up doing is makes you want to think that there's certain things you need to do to get to a destination, and then you don't actually focus on the journey at all. You're like, I just want to do this so I can get a good score and then move on with my life. And that doesn't work well for me, and I don't think it would work well for people, because you kind of deprive yourself of motivation, because you're like, I'm just doing this to get a good score. Instead, if you focus on the journey, you focus on the fact that you're going to come out of this studying by knowing every organ system the best you've ever known it. You're going to know every possible disease. You're going to know every potential medication. You're going to know adverse effects. You're going to know how medications interact. You're going to know the underlying physiology of every organ system. If you go into it with that mindset saying, I know nothing now, but it's going to be so awesome because in 6 months or whatever, because in 2 months, I'm going to come out of this and know so much more. Like, you're going to be excited for that journey. And when you're excited for the journey, you will learn better, because you'll be motivated not by the end result, but you'll be motivated by just trying to get the most out of every organ system that you can. Like, enjoy it. Like, cardiology is fascinating to me. Nephrology was fascinating to me. All of these things were so interesting to me. And when I was studying them, I almost was like, I want to just get through it so I can just, take the test. But then I realized, I'm going to take my time. And if I take my time and learn everything, learn it well, I started getting intrigued by a lot of these things. And when you get intrigued, that's when you got to jump on it. You got to be like, I love this stuff. And when you love this stuff, there's no reason why you probably won't do that well, because you actually enjoy what you're learning. Let's say you don't happen to do well. Like, let's say you study and everything's fun and, you don't get the test result you wanted. Well, then who cares? Because you just learned everything. When you go into the hospital, your underlying foundation will still be relatively strong. Your underlying foundational curiosity will still be what stands out. So, as I said, when you focus on the journey, at least for me, always, I've focused on learning for the sake of learning. You end up doing better, and you actually kind of, let yourself focus on what really matters, which is the content, as opposed to a silly number, which unfortunately does matter, and you should try to get the highest number possible, but I found that focusing on the journey is a little bit better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to put it out there because I just finished, and these were 5 things that were on the top of my mind, and I was like, I want to just share this. It's also important for people to know that they're not alone when they're struggling for this test. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment, share, subscribe. I'm so glad I was able to post this journey on YouTube. It's going to be a great way for me to come back and be like, that's what step 1 was like. But hopefully it's also going to be helpful for you guys as you're studying. All right. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.